I got invited to play in one of the most stacked VGC draft leagues of all time. I'll be up against titans of the game like NAIC champion Federico Camporese, 3-time regional champions Michael Kelch and Justin Tang, and single battles legend Pokémon, fighting over 10 weeks for a cash prize and ultimate bragging rights. Welcome to the MDBL. How we doing, folks? It is week 1 of the MDBL. We've got our first battle video of the tournament coming up today, and we are up against TheUziGunner and his Thunderclap Titans. So, before we get into what I'm using, let's have a quick look at Uzi's draft, and I went over this a bit in the draft video I did previously, the analysis, but this draft is kind of scary. So, you see here we've got the Raging Bolt as a kind of standalone threat. That is actually quite scary for my team. We'll go over that in a second once we get onto what I'm using. Then we've got a lot of pairings here. We've got Mousehold Annihilate, we've got Dondozo Tatsugiri, we've got Regigigas Weezing, and Toedscruel as well fits in with that. Those are kind of the main things that I'm worried about, would be those 7. I'm expecting Raging Bolt to come, and then probably Dozogiri, and then like Mouseape Weezing or something like that. Could potentially be Impidimp. I think Impidimp's not impossible here. I don't think it'd Fletchend or a Mudbray ever coming, but Impidimp does get like... gets access to misty terrain, it gets access to screens, which can be a bit annoying against me, so it's not impossible that Impidimp comes to this. Most likely, though, I'm expecting Bolt, Dozogiri, and then some combination of Mousehold, Annihilate, Weezing, Gigas. Well, it's probably either going to be Bolt, Dozogiri, and then Weezing, Gigas, Toedscruel, or it'll be Bolt, Dozogiri, Ape, Mouse, and probably Weezing in the last slot there. Those are the main things I'm looking out for. Those are all very difficult for me to cover at once. I think Raging Bolt in particular is a little bit tricky. So I've got, in my draft here, I've got my Ursaluna, which can deal decently with that. But the problem is Ursaluna's kind of bad into like everything else on this team. So like Galarian Weezing, you really don't want to be having Ursaluna in front of, just because you end up getting a little bit... you can't go for the Gut set, obviously threatening ground type damage, which is nice, but I can't go for Gut stuff because of the neutralizing gas, and then obviously Dondozo kind of shuts down Ursaluna pretty hard. Mouseape Ursaluna doesn't like that much, so it's actually kind of difficult for me to get around the Raging Bolt. You'll see I've got a couple of ways to do it, but none that are immensely consistent. That's kind of the main thing that I'm worried about here, was dealing with the Raging Bolt whilst also not bringing stuff that leaves me super weak to everything else on the team. So let's have a quick look at now what I have brought along. Starting off with, you'll notice that I haven't brought either Ursaluna or Roaring Moon, which are kind of my 2 highest value picks on my team. And if you look at the opposing team, I think I kind of went over a little bit when I was going over Uzi's draft why I didn't bring Ursaluna here, because we've got the threat of, like, it doesn't really like Annihilate, it doesn't like Weezing, doesn't like Dozo, it doesn't really like Toedscruel either, to be honest, so it felt a little bit awkward to bring it. It definitely could have come, but I don't think it was my best bet. So instead, I've got a strategy that's kind of built around having 2 different speed modes, that being the kind of Indeedee Armarouge, Trick Room mode, and the Frostlass, which I think is actually a very, very good pick in this matchup. Mostly because it's very good at covering Raging Bolt. Like, obviously it's not one-shotting it with Ice Beam because it's got base 80 special attack, but it's threatening some pretty big damage at the very least. And most importantly, it has access to Icy Wind and Thunder Wave, which are going to be very important for my team. I was initially considering going Will-O-Wisp on this thing because it's quite nice into like Annihilate, into Dondozo, but fundamentally this strategy is going to be built around just hitting my opponent before they hit me. So I think that doesn't really make too much difference. Thunderwave, though, does mean that on, like, my Armarouge, for example, my Gallade, paralyzing stuff lets it outspeed stuff that maybe an Icy Wind wouldn't let it get, which is pretty valuable, so I ended up going for Thunderwave on that. Plus, you also get the Yellow Magic chance. That's always a benefit. And then lastly, I have Destiny Bond. So my opponent's team has a lot of very bulky Pokemon. There's quite a bit of setup with Annihilate. There's a lot of, like, Dondozo's hard to take down. Bolt's pretty difficult for me to take down. Even Regigigas, to an extent, is a little bit tricky. So having the option of clicking Icy Wind turn 1 and then next turn clicking Destiny Bond, and then if they attack my Frostlass, which they're quite likely to, then I just take something with me. And if I can trade my Frostlass for Dondozo, or if Annihilate gets set up and I trade Frostlass for Annihilate, that's really, really good value for me. So I think Destiny Bond is a very fun option here. I've gone Terra Ground just because, I mean, I don't think I'm ever really going to be Terastallizing Frostlass in this matchup, but it just scares my opponent out of clicking Thunderclap, potentially, which is nice. Or it means that I potentially force them to go for Draco Meteor into my Frostlass if they want to damage me, which then means that my back end has a slightly easier chance. The other main tool I have into Raging Bolt is going to be Brute Bonnet. This thing is a menace. It just kind of sponges hits from Raging Bolt. It could be Goggles, but I'm not really that scared of Goggles. I'm mostly scared of Assault Vest. And if they're Assault Vest, then Brute Bonnet ends up being very, very nice to try and deal with that just for Redirection and Spore. I guess worst case is they go like Terra Grass? But that seems really risky into a team where I could be running like Acrobatics. I've got Armor Rouge to punish Terra Grass as well, so that's not awful. But yeah, this thing just kind of sits in front of Bolt, dishes out good damage. There's no natural Spore immunities on the team apart from Toadscruel on Uzi's side. So you can force Goggles. I've got Mental Herb on this just because there's a lot of Taunt users. Seems sensible to stick a Mental Herb on here. Yeah, full support Brute Bonnet. Also very nice into Dondozo if they're anything other than Terra Grass. And I have ways of punishing Terra Grass, which is nice again with Frostlass with Armor Rouge. So Bonnet, going to be very fun. And then those are kind of my support pieces. That and Indeedee, this is just an Indeedee set. I've got Ability Shield here just because Weezing exists. I've played a couple of practice games into this kind of stuff, and there were situations where like I'd go Frostlass Blastoise lead, get off an Icy Wind or something like that, and then I'd really want Psychic Terrain up to protect my Blastoise in the back. Oh, sorry, I'd want Psychic Terrain up on switch in just to keep my Blastoise safe from a Thunderclap from Raging Bolt, for example. So having that Ability Shield there is nice into like Weezing Raging Bolt leads, or I mean it's less important into Weezing Regigigas, but if I go for like the Size Spam mode into Weezing Gigas, then having Ability Shield on that is very nice as well. Just gets around neutralizing gas. They could be Misty Surge Weezing, which is a very real threat. If they go Misty Surge Weezing, then Indeedee just kind of loses an item, which is unfortunate, but I think I'm okay with that just because I've got ways of hitting through that. And if they're not neutralizing gas, then they don't turn off my sharpness on Gallade, which is a big threat. I have Torrent on this, don't I? What's the other ability? Rain Dish doesn't do anything, does it? Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that's kind of my support pool. Blastoise on this comp, I'm going Water Spout. I'm leaning very heavily into just clicking big damage moves. I've got Water Spout, Ice Beam, obviously Ice Beam to deal with Raging Bolt, Water Spout to deal with pretty much everything else, and Haze to get around Dondozo. The thing with Dondozo is when you know it's coming, you can put a couple of answers on there. So I've got that. I've also got Clear Smog on my Armor Rouge, which I think is a very fun set. But yeah, Blastoise, we got Haze, Ice Beam, Water Spout. So I think a few game plans that I came up with kind of revolve around going like Frostlass Blastoise lead, and then just clicking Speed Control and Water Spout, and then bringing in like back-end Armor Rouge, for example, with Indeedee or something like that, or Indeedee Gallade to clean up. So that is an option that I have, which I think is pretty fun. Yeah, I think Blastoise is pretty nice in this matchup, just because that Water Spout damage is doing a lot. Again, the only natural water resists are going to be Dozo or Bolt, and if Dozo comes in, then I can Haze and get rid of that. And if it's Bolt, then like I said, I've got plans with Frostlass. I've got Ice Beam on Stoys as well. So I can get around that. I've gone Terra Water just for extra Spout damage. I don't think I need more Terra Grasses. I've got 2 Terra Grasses down this end, and I've got a Grass type and Brute Bonnet. And then we've got Armor Rouge. So Armor Rouge is just going reasonably bulky, slow. We've got Armor Cannon, Expanding Force. I didn't really need a third move on this. So I've gone Clear Smog, just because there's a couple of setup mons here, like potentially Bulk of Annihilate, but mostly obviously the Dondozo. And then the rest of it's just built around damage. I'm not Life Orb because Life Orb is on Gallade. And the thing with Gallade in draft leagues is that when you know that your opponent doesn't have an Incineroar, like the reason you have to go Clear Amulet on Gallade in like every single real side spam comp is because Incineroar just kind of shuts you down if not. You just get intimidated and then party shot and intimidated again. If you know your opponent doesn't have an Intimidator, or specifically an Incineroar, you can go Life Orb on this thing, and it goes crazy mode. Like, this thing does insane damage. Like, you can one-shot Bolt with a Helping Hand. Like, Helping Hand Sacred Sword just kills Raging Bolt. Like, even the bulkier ones, it just kills it. Unless they're, like, super bulky, in which case it's a roll. But most of the time, this just kills Raging Bolt, which is really funny. But Sacred Sword is also incredibly valuable into Dondozo, because it ignores stat changes, which means I ignore the defense boosts. I've got Terra Grass on this in Armor Rouge as my best Dondozo counters. I've gone Sacred Sword, Psycho Cut. There's not really anything on my opponent's team that can deal with both of those. Like, they've not got any dark types naturally. So everything is, like, nothing on the team is resistant to Psycho Cut apart from Impidimp. So Psychic hits very, very hard there. And then Sacred Sword covers for any Terra Darks or Terra Steels, which are the likely options. It could be Terra Psychic on something, which would be a little bit annoying, but I've got Brute Bonnet to cover that, and that's not the end of the world. Because Terra Psychic, again, looks really awkward into, like, Roaring Moon, for example, which I absolutely could bring into this matchup. So yeah, Terra Psychic, maybe not that likely. I've got Agility on this, which I don't think I need a third Trick Room setter. All my Trick Room plans kind of revolve around Indeedee Armarouge, or, like, Bonnet Armarouge. So Gallade with Agility feels kind of nice here, just because it means that if I get opportunities, to set up with, like, Indeedee Gallade early game, for example, I can get an Agility off. Or even if I go Indeedee Armarouge early game, bring Gallade in the back, and we get to the last turn of Trick Room, my opponent protects their Dondozo because they need to protect their Dondozo on the last turn of Trick Room. I click Agility, and now I'm faster than them. That seems like a fun option to go for. It was mostly just because I had an empty slot to use, and I think Agility is an interesting thing that my opponent probably won't be looking out for. At least not initially. The one thing with this team I would say that is maybe going to struggle a little bit is a lack of natural speed. So I've only really got Frostlass. And I'm relying heavily on Frostlass with Icy Wind and Thunderwave for any kind of positive speed control, which is part of the reason I want to go Gallade Agility as well. Because, like, I don't really want to set up Trick Room with my Gallade in front of a Weezing, for example. So getting Agility off makes me a little bit better into that. Yeah, so I'm relying quite heavily on, like, double redirection and potentially Trick Room, or just firing off damage. I was tempted to go Scarf Blastoise, but then I lose a lot of damage from Mystic Water, and also I don't really get the option of running Haze, which makes it a little bit worse. But yeah, primary game plans are always going to be, like, Bonnet Armarouge Trick Room, Indeedee Armarouge Trick Room, or, like, Frostlass Stoise, Frostlass Gallade lead, just to throw down big damage, and then, like, Indeedee Armarouge back end or something like that. I think Bonnet is likely to be a very key piece in this, especially with Mental Herb, especially into the Raging Bolt. So, we'll see. Obviously, it depends on what my opponent brings, but that's my 6. I think it's a pretty fun team. It's definitely not perfect. I think my opponent's team is very hard to cover, just on account of how many options it has, but that is what I have. This is the team that I'm bringing. So, yeah. Let's jump into the battle. Okay. We're in. This is roughly what I was expecting. Although I was expecting Dozo Tatsugiri. There's no Tatsu here. Gigas Weezing, Mouse Ape, we've got Bolt, and we've got just Solo Dozo, which I'm not particularly scared of. Does mean I've got a couple of completely redundant techs on my team, but, you know, such is the way. So Bolt is the big scary here. I think something like Bonnet Armor might actually work nicely as a lead here. Go TR mode. And then, like, I don't really need Stoise that much now that I'm not leaning that heavily on Haze. Honestly, I maybe shouldn't have bought Stoise to this match at all, but I think, like, Indeedee Gallade seems sensible now. Is there still license for the Blastoise mode? Less so, I think. Yeah, I think this is fine. I think I just go TR here. I'm expecting, like, Weezing Bolt lead is what I am kind of most afraid of. We'll see. What was Terra Fairy? This dude does have 3 Terra Darks in his team, which is a little bit dicey. Mousehold, Weezing, and Ape are all Terra Dark. Which makes sense. That's fully what I was expecting. That's why I've got Gallade. But they do go Gigas Weezing. Okay. How aggro do I play this on turn 1? Is the question. So I've got the option of just going like Spore, Wheeze, and TR. Yeah, Taunty is the thing. I could Spore Gigas and just hit the Weezing. is also not a terrible option. We do have Knock potentially on Gigas, but I don't think they go for that here. Because they're worried about Rage Powder. I'm going to do this and just Expanding Force. I think it makes sense. Never mind, they just go Knock. Okay. I didn't think they'd go for that right away. Well, I guess they would have knocked off my mental if they'd done that, but I would have got Tiara, which would have been a fine situation for me. Okay, so for that. Problem is now Gallade's in a pretty shit spot. I can KO the Gigas even. I can't really go in DD here, can I? I'm going to Gallade. I'm going to Spore here. Oops. I'm going to Spore here. I'm actually going to go for my Agility now, I think. I've seen these speed interactions here. Weezing has got Taunt. You're sleeping. No Terror, okay. Get my Agility up. Nice. They do Taunt again. Are they Sash on Weezing, do we think? This feels like it's going to be Sash Weezing, right? Just based on how they're playing. I don't hate just breaking Sash on Weezing and then going Sacred into the Gigas, I think. Terra's Gigas? Gigas is Fairy, right? Yeah. Gigas stay sleeping. They don't Terror. That says to me they are going to be Sash, right? Weezing protects. It's fine. Protect. Plus 2 speed Gallade here is nice. Crunch hits nothing. Weezing is dark, right? Yeah. There's the Bolt, okay. Just a Taunt is nice. I think I can just go for Crunch Bolt here and Protect. I think it's fine. Guessing down on the Bolt for free, and then I've got Rage Powder and Sacred into it next turn. I think it's fine. Here's a Terra. This is probably Terra Fairy, right? Yeah, okay. So the Bolt goes Terra game 1. It's fine. Is this gonna be Terra Blast? Could be Terra Blast. Gleam. Fine, I get Glum. T-ball. Alright. Fine. So I've got a nice tasty Rage Powder. I think I just go Rage Powder here and Terra Grass Psycho Cut into the Bolt, right? Seems my most obvious option. I've got a very tasty looking ability shield in the back as well. Terra. Okay, it does have Protect, so it's not AV. T-Bolt we've seen. Could have gone off the big wheeze there, but now we know it's got Protect. Could all be Life Orb, I guess. Right. Into attack. I think I just go into NDD now. Yeah, fat Psycho Cut into the Raging Bolt. The next time I can swing at Weezing. Monk comes back. It's be a great time to have Seed Bomb. DD in. I don't think my Gallade's under threat of being KO'd this turn. I do have just easy redirection next turn, which is nice. Psycho Cut with Terrain. Good damage. Gleam. Oh, Weezing's faster than Bolt. Okay. Pulse is fine. Nice. Okay. Now I want to break a Sash on Weezing and just Tect, I think. Bolt goes out, okay. Who comes in? Mouse. Interesting. No Gleaming for you. Potential Sash Break. Yeah, that's Sash, okay. Good to confirm. Which means the mouse isn't Sash. Which is nice. I'm going to do something funky here. I'm going to go TR. I know I've got an agility up, but I'm going to go TR here and just Sacred the Wheeze, I think. Yeah, I'll go TR and Sacred Wheeze. Okay, you follow me, so the mouse just goes down. That's fine. I'm expecting this to be Gleam. I don't think they're going to go Taunt here, because it's super obvious that I just go for another Psychic. I'm expecting Gleam. Yeah. Perfect. Now we TR. And Bolt comes in, and we should be fine. Because this is going to be speedy Weezing. We've seen that it's faster than their Bolt. We didn't see the speed interaction between Weezing and Gallade, because I agility'd on a Protect turn. Bolt in. Choose on left and terrain is fine. I can go Psychic here, and I can go Spore here. I think this seems reasonably wrapped up. No Protects, so Spore goes out, Bolt goes nap time. And then we've seen this as a speedy Weezing. Oh, interesting. Okay. Bolt is slower than DD. That is very interesting. Oh, it's booster energy, okay. That's an interesting choice when you've got a Weezing, but sure. This is not guaranteed sleep turn. I think I'm best going Psychic and Rage Powder here. If they wake up, I might be a bit cooked. And if they stay sleeping, I'm just fine regardless. They shouldn't be able to KO Bonnet from this range with a Dragon Pulse. There's the wake up. Pulse. Yep. Psychic. Good job, indeedy. Nice. We didn't really learn a huge amount of information in that game. Annoyingly. Well, actually we got a decent amount of information. I guess. I'm glad Agility Gallade actually did pretty good work that game. I mean, he now knows all the items on my team. I don't know what the item is on his mouse. I'm guessing it's probably Goggles, just on account of how that was played. Interesting that Weezing is probably faster than my Gallade. Well, actually no, if it's Modest it won't be. So what are they worried about now? They're worried about Bonnet, as they should be. That's probably the scariest mon on my team, is my Bonnet. If they're worried about Bonnet... I mean, Weezing's their best lead into Bonnet, right? I'm tempted to go Frostlass Stoise, though. Let's see. Yeah, Gigas was Terra Fairy. I mean, I could go Frostless Gallade, potentially. Or do I just go same lead? Ooh, there's an interesting line here where I can go, like, Bonnet, Gallade. Like, Armor didn't really do anything there. And then, like, Frostlass Indeedee back end. Do I even need Indeedee? I maybe don't, actually. Could do this. I don't have Side Train, which is a bit annoying. Indeedee's nice for redirection. Potentially TR with Bonnet. So what I'm thinking is I go Bonnet, Gallade, I just Rage Powder turn 1, get a Psycho Cut down on the Weezing. And then I can Protect, get Frostlass in, and then I have Icy Wind to finish off the Weezing, and then I'm clicking fat buttons into Gigas. That seems fine. Let's try this. I want to bring my Frostlass! It's so cool in this matchup. And I didn't get to bring it game 1 because I was doing TR stuff. Oh, mouse. Okay. I'm not sure I quite get that lead, but... What are the odds this is Pop Bomb? What are we thinking on Pop Bomb Mouse? Did I reveal Tech in game 1? I did, didn't I? Yeah. Because I've got Rage Powder and Punch the Mouse, which will instantly kill it. I think they want to get rid of my Bonnet. I think it's likely they want to KO my Bonnet here, and I've not revealed that I have Protect. I think this is an interesting play. What if it goes wrong? If it goes wrong, I probably just lose. I don't think you're Whiteless Pop Bomb on this team. Ah, you could be. Ah! Shit. They just double teched? No way, right? Okay. Sure. That's certainly a choice. Okay, we see teched on mouse. Probably scouting for Protect from me, which they got, but I think not in the way that they were expecting. I do have Frostlass back. Ooh, this could be a very nice Frostlass switch, actually. I really like Frostlass switch, and do I just Sacred? Actually, no, I don't need to switch Frostlass here. I just go Rage Powder. I'm going to Sacred into the Bolt, I think. Is that correct? No, I could Sacred the Mouse. Alternatively, I Sacred Mouse and hit Bolt. This is, I don't know what the mouse is. If it's support mouse, this is absolutely fine. If it's not support mouse, then I'm cooked. If they pop on my Gallade here, I'm in trouble. I guess I could have switched Gallade into Frostlass and gone. That's Super Fang. Okay, fine. Yeah, I'll go after Bonnet. That's gonna be support mouse. Good to know. Bang. I'm guessing Beat Up will be the other one then. Does this get me from here? They have their booster, but I'm a Brute Bonnet, yeah. God, Brute Bonnet's a ridiculous Pokemon. This thing is so bulky. Who let this happen? Okay. So no Taunt on the mouse. Good to know. Who's coming in here? Ape. Ooh, okay. This feels like an agility kind of angle. I think Goggles on Ape, they could be. Am I scared of Ape this turn? Not hugely. I'm going to Spore the Ape in agility, I think. Because an unboosted Rage Fist is not KOing me here. This lets me scout for Terror if they want to go for, like, Terror, Dark. It lets me scout for Terror, it lets me scout for Goggles. Both of which are very important here. This could feasibly be Goggles Ape. There's the Terror, yep. That's the Dark Terror, so now I have the Agility boost, which is super good for me. They just go boost Rage Fist. Unboosted, this won't KO me. Yeah, fine. Are they safety Jodgles? I get my agility. Lit. Are they Jodgles? If they're Jodgles, this gets a little bit awkward. But still manageable. Are you Jodgles? You are Jodgles. Okay. Oh, Vital Spirit. Oh, that makes sense, yeah. I should have seen that coming. Okay, so that's Vital. I'm going to Rage Powder here, and I'm going to Sacred. If they're Vital Spirit, they're not going to be Goggles. So I can Rage Powder them. So I can just go Rage Powder Sacred here, and that's, I think, just dead safe. They are going to attack. Even if Bolt wakes up this turn, I get Indeedee in next turn, and I just go for Follow Me and Sacred instead. Unless their last move is Electro, and they're not running Thunderclap, which would be kind of odd. On a booster energy set. Okay, stay asleep, so we don't know. Nothing in the back really wants to come in on a Sacred Sword here. I'm happy with just cracking a Sash, to be honest. Even if it is, like, wheezing back end, I'm happy to just crack a Sash here. Okay, Ape goes out. I'm guessing this is going to be Weezing coming in here, but, again, this is fine. Dozo, okay, fat damage on Dozo. Take that. Dozo, one of the most physically bulky Pokemon in the game. How much do you think this does? Oh my god! Bolt does wake up now. Keybolt, fine. I think I should bring in a DD here now, right? This is just Protect the President, 100% of the time. Do I Sacred the Dozo or do I Sacred the Bolt? I think I just Sacred the Dozo. Follow me. So no text, that's good. Sacred KOs. God, that's so much damage. I love being able to run Life Orb on this thing. It's so silly. So they're gone. Keybolt. That's a lot of damage. Four turns of Psychic Terrain. I've got loads of time left on this. How safe am I to just go for, like, Follow Me Sacred? So I could also make a super aggressive read here. I think Follow Me Sacred is just safe, isn't it? I've got a Terra Ground in the back as well. I think Follow Me Sacred is fine. Because, like, they could protect here, but then I'd get Sacred again next turn and Ice Beam. This feels reasonably safe. The other option I have, like I said, is I just go Helping Hand and, yeah, okay, they don't kill it. I think they had to play for me making an aggressive read there, which I did not give them. Yeah, Sacred KOs 8. Adios. Agility Gallade, man. Fucking Agility Gallade. This shit slaps. This shit slaps with such severity. No, my HP. Pulse. Bye-bye. And now I bring out my favourite boy, my Frostlass. I don't know if he is actually my favourite boy, but I was very happy to be able to bring Frostlass this week. I'm not going to get to show off any of his techs, but... we actually saw no information on that. Dozo, which is very funny. Yeah, there's no reason not to just Ice Beam and Psycho. That should be GG's, I think. Meek Frostlass Gaming. Psycho, how's this doing? Neutral hit. Neutral hit into one of the bulkiest Pokemon in the game. Ice Beam! Go Frostlass! Nice! Good job, Frostlass. Nice. I'm so happy Agility Gallade worked out like that. That's, like, both games I got Agility Gallade in position and just wrecked shop. That's really funny. That's really very funny. Right, yeah, overall, super happy with how that went. I'm so glad that Agility Gallade got to cook. That was such a fun, like, kind of last-minute addition to the team. I was looking at third moves on Gallade, because I know I wanted Protect, Sacred Sword, Psycho Cut. I was like, I had Leaf Blade on there for a bit. Maybe, like, Terragoss Leaf Blade could pin Terras into, like, if it was, like, Terradock and Island. I was thinking, I could just Terragoss Leaf Blade into it and not have to worry about trying to pull Terras. But then I thought, wait, hold on. Agility is actually kind of sick here if I'm not fully leading on the TR mode. Like, Bonnet and Gallade were... I think likely to be... I was kind of thinking beforehand those were going to be two of the big pieces. And I was very happy that I was correct. They both did insanely good work. So yeah, pretty happy with how that went. I don't really know what much else there is to say. Yeah, game one I maybe thought my opponent was going to be a bit less aggressive with the knockoff, but I think trading Armor Rouge for the sleep there ended up working out fine. Because of the chance to get the agility off. It was a little bit scuffed here and there, but... I think, yeah, Bonnet did what it needed to. It was pressuring Spores. I had redirection in the back. The ability shield indeed ended up being very handy. We saw that in game one. I was glad that paid off as well, which was nice, getting the Psychic trade up in front of Weezing, which was good for a couple of reasons. One, extra damage and Psycho Cut. I think that ended up mattering a pretty significant amount, given the last Psychic into the Raging Bolt. And then also just shutting off Thunderclap was handy. I didn't ever get to click Helping Hand Psycho Cut into Raging Bolt just to one-shot it, which was unfortunate. I was kind of looking forward to doing that, but overall pretty happy with how that went. I like the adaptation game 2 to go Bonnet Gallade, because Gallade is just putting out so much damage. Game 1 I was angling for a kind of heavy Trick Room mode, and then game 2 was more of a, okay, let's just get some damage down, get the agility up potentially, which was nice. I think the double protect from my opponent on turn 1 was very risky, because if I just go like Rage Powder agility on turn 1 and they double protect, you're in a horrible spot. Also, Brute Bonnet was an absolute monster. Surviving the Super Fang Protosynthesis boosted Dragon Pulse was nuts. This thing is insane. Oh, I'm so glad I picked up Brute Bonnet. This thing is crazy good. It was a very last minute trade for me. Anyway, so yeah, that's going to be all from me for this week of the MDBL. If you enjoyed and you want to see more Draft League content, I know I had fun, I hope you had fun as well, please do subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, drop a like on the video, hype the video is a thing now on YouTube, I think, leave comments, do all the things that give me engagement, it's good. There'll be Draft League content every week for the next at least 5 weeks, hopefully more, if I can keep up the trend of winning games. But yeah, about as good a start as I could hope for, 2-0 to kick us off, got some fun techs with the Agility Gallade. So yeah, happy with how this went, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.